and welcome to Newshour. I am Esther Sako. Coming up, Parliament debates 2025 Constitutional Amendment Bill proposes major changes to the country's electoral laws. Amnesty arraigns right defenders on key laws and fundamental freedoms. And the Ministry of Fisheries distributes fresh fish, bringing hope and nourishment to patients in hospitals. These stories and more, including entertainment and sport, are lined up in this edition of Newshour. Stay with us. Welcome back. We'll begin the news with one of our top stories. Parliament is debating the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025, which proposes major changes to the country's electoral laws. Key proposals in the bill include establishing a search and nomination committee to appoint electoral commissioners and introducing a 30% quota for women to contest elections. It also includes creating legal works for independent presidential candidates who can demonstrate sufficient financial capacity and community support, and the registering political parties that fail to win a parliamentary seat in 2 consecutive general elections. The most contentious aspect of the bill is its proposal to retain the proportional representation PR system for parliamentary elections. The government side argued that PR promotes greater political capacity, eliminates the cost of holding by-elections, and contributes to more stable and peaceful political environment. However, the opposition or People's Congress Party contended that the PR system disadvantages smaller political parties, pointing to the outcomes of the 2023 elections as evidence. The party also argued that PR shifts decision-making powers away from the electorate and places it in the hands of political parties through party lists. The APC maintains that the constituency-based electoral system remains the best model for ensuring genuine representation of the people. Another contentious proposal concerns the threshold for winning a presidential election. The bill introduces what critics describe as difficult provisions for elections to the office of president. It provides that a presidential candidate must obtain a simple majority of the total valid vote cast throughout Sierra Leone and a minimum of 20% of the total valid vote cast in all at least 2/3 of the district of Sierra Leone. It also proposed for independent members to contest for the presidency. And now from there, as the All People's Congress concluded its constituency election across the country, one of the flag bearer aspirants of the APC and leader of the DIB movement, Dr. Ibrahim Bangura, has commended the successful conduct of the poll nationwide. He admonished supporters of the party to be calm, underscoring the importance of the constituency elections ahead of the district and national delegate elections. Here's an excerpt of his statement.
I want to say thank you very much to all the one them we participate in the constituency elections we will just hold. I'll be very satisfied with the process, the way we people then conduct themselves, and also the support where government institutions then give. I want to encourage everybody, the one that we win, the one that we not win, for ensure say we use this moment for bring the party together. You will win for being magnanimous and reach out to the other one that will not win. We remember say that one party we get. And whatsoever process we participate in for help enhance the party and chances of winning the 2028 elections. These elections will allow we to understand the challenges that will continue to exist and how we will handle them as we begin to prepare for the district elections. Now, one party we get, and that's not something very important to me on campaign. Now, I don't encourage everybody where we talk to for stand up and work with the party. This process is important because if we get it right, we will get a smooth outcome in the National Delegates Conference where the party they prepare for. I want to say a special thank you to the Secretariat of the party. It will not be easy, but requires significant human and financial resources to pull this through. We're going to do very well, and I believe the small issues that will come up, we're going to handle well.
Is Dr. Ibrahim Bangura, APC Flavia aspirant and leader of the DIB movement. From there, human rights defenders should be familiar with the laws concerning the state, particularly those relating to freedom of expression and other fundamental rights. This is according to the Section Director of Amnesty International Sierra Leone, Solomon Subani, during the opening of a 3-day training of trainers workshop on several legislations, including the Criminal Procedure Act, Cyber Security Act, Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment, or GIRI Act for civil society organizations. Dennis Fraser tells us more.
The 3-day workshop brought together staff, members of Amnesty International, and representatives of various civil society organizations to strengthen our understanding of key national laws affecting human rights advocacy. The highly interactive session focused on equipping participants with the legal knowledge needed to protect human rights defenders, promote accountability, and ensuring that their work is carried out safely and in compliance with the country's laws. Speaking at the opening session, the Section Director of Amnesty International Sierra Leone, Solomon Subani, emphasized that human rights defenders have both the rights and the responsibility to understand the country's legal framework. He said, a sound knowledge of state laws enables defenders to protect themselves, challenge unlawful actions by authorities, and use domestic legal mechanisms to hold public officials accountable.
I get confused over the noise and emotions human rights defenders attach to the laws and interpretation of those rights. It's unfortunate. You should know the laws. The law is not about emotion. It's not about noise.
Mr. Sobani described human rights defenders as essential agents of progress whose work was critical to advancing justice, fairness, and respect for fundamental human rights. The lead facilitator and retired judge, Nicholas Brown-Mark, said given their critical role in society, defenders must have a solid understanding of legal provisions to effectively promote accountability and ensure that law enforcement agencies uphold the rule of law.
Bring the law up to date with modern developments and with modern sensibilities about our responsibilities to our fellow man, to the disadvantaged, and to the other sex, as women. And we ensure that we give adequate protection, not just to the victims, persons who come into contact with the law, but also persons who come into conflict with the law, the persons who are charged in court. We try as much as possible, like for instance, enacting now that persons who are, for instance, suspected of having committed sexual offences, they have a right to ask for a medical practitioner to examine them to confirm or disprove whether it is they are in a position to commit the offence with which they have been charged.
Participants described the training as timely and beneficial, saying it had enhanced their knowledge and strengthened their capacity to advocate for the protection and promotion of fundamental human rights.
Being designated to benefit members of the civil society, the Fort Estate, and other groups that are very relevant in advocacy generally. I think for all of us, this training brings together like-minded people, which means that whenever we are advocating, we will be speaking from the same book.
Exercise, I'll have to engage my colleagues because we have monitors at the police station, the court, and also for detention facilities. In order for us to see whether what the law says are being implemented by the justice actors. Because as you mentioned, we have a lot of cases wherein what the law says and what is being implemented, there are two different things.
The workshop is expected to create opportunities for wider engagement with civil society organizations, providing a platform for dialogue on concerns, perceptions, and challenges relating to national legislation, while broadening understanding of the legal framework governing human rights and national security in the country. SLBC, Dennis Fraser reporting.
The Minister of Labour and Social Security, Mohamed Rahman Swai, has said his ministry will strengthen enforcement of labour laws while encouraging employers to comply voluntarily to improve working conditions in Sierra Leone. He made the statement during a meeting with managing directors and human resource leads of commercial banks at the Bintumani Conference Center. Aminata Fofana was in attendance when he made the assertion and compiled this report.
Minister Soare noted that although labor laws have been modernized, enforcement remains a major challenge. He said the ministry is engaging employers and institutions to improve awareness and compliance. He stressed the importance of end-of-service benefits and urged banks to meet their obligations to workers. He also reminded employers that contract staff should be considered for permanent employment after 6 months, as provided by law.
On prolonged contracts, it's almost casualization. The law frowns on it very, very deeply, and I see that happening in some banks. Anything I say, I have data, so I'm just saying it so that we could all have, exchange around it. The law says, after 6 months, another 6 months, that means there is a compelling need for the role. You have to make that person a permanent employee.
The minister said the ongoing review of the Employment Act is gathering stakeholders' inputs and encouraged banks to participate actively. Project officer of the Sierra Leone Employers Federation, Yvette Kagbo, reaffirmed their commitment to labor laws compliance and called for stronger collaboration to promote fair and decent work.
We recognize that compliance promotes decent work, protects workers' rights, and also creates fair, transparent labor market.
Participants also urged the banking sector to ensure full compliance with workplace safety provisions in the Employment Act. The meeting ended with presentations from the Ministry of Labour and NASIT on labor compliance and social security.
For many hospitals, patients, a balanced diet is often beyond reach. But today, compassion arrived not in words, but in fresh fish distributed by the Minister of Fisheries, Princess Dugbat, bringing nourishment, hope, and a reminder that recovery is also supported by what is served on the plate. Stella Bango went along with the team and now reports.
Fish here now say, okay, we're not take out for grant and hospitals then, and for grant care to schools then. So now that make today at today, for sure, I say, if I not for no more for childhood, the why again for letting brain cells develop, because without food, now you belay, you know where for land.
It was a welcoming atmosphere as officials from the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources walked through hospital corridors carrying more than just fish. They carried a gesture of care for some of society's most vulnerable people. The two-day fish distribution exercise by the ministry is set to happen in hospitals and schools. A total of 100 cartons of fish donated by Ocean Fresh, a fishing company, will be distributed as part part of the company's corporate social responsibility initiative.
To give a corporate social responsibility in kind, and one of the kind is fish. So because they are fishing companies, they gave us fish so that we can distribute it. So we decided to choose the hospital and schools because we know it's the rainy season, and during the rainy season we don't have enough fish. And if you go to the market, definitely you see that there is not enough fish. Not that we don't want to, but it's because most times the fish will run away during the rainy season. So for us to have fish and be able to distribute it, it takes that burden off the people.
This exercise, as explained by the minister, will not be limited to Freetown, but will also be carried out in the provinces. At the Sierra Leone Psychiatric Teaching Hospital, the donation was received as more than food. For many patients, proper nutrition forms an important part of the healing process, making the day's intervention both timely and meaningful. Nutritionists at other beneficiary hospitals also welcomed the support, noting that quality protein plays a vital role in patients' recovery.
Fish more nutritious past beef, self. Fish like good past beef for your health. So this is the make sure so the patient is very healthy.
For the Minister of Fisheries, Princess Duba, the visit was deeply personal. Before assuming her current role, she served as Deputy Minister of Health, making her return to the hospital one filled with memories of caring for patients from a different office. Now leading the fisheries sector, she returned with the same purpose of improving lives. The initiative, she stated, aligns with President Bio's Human Capital Development Agenda, which places the health and well-being of Sierra Leoneans at the center of national development. Reporting for SLBC, Stella Bangura.
Ministry of Health has launched the rollout of Starlink internet connectivity across public hospitals and health facilities as part of efforts to accelerate the country's digital health transformation. The initiative is expected to improve patient care, strengthen disease surveillance, and enable real-time collection and analysis of health data for informed decision-making. Emmanuel Samora reports.
Healthcare delivery in Sierra Leone is entering a new digital era with the launch of Starlink internet connectivity at the Julius Maada Bio Pediatric Center of Excellence in Nomni. The initiative, spearheaded by the Ministry of Health, will see Starlink installed in public hospitals and health facilities nationwide, providing reliable, high-speed internet to support healthcare services. Launching the program, Minister of Health Dr. Austin Denby described the initiative as a major milestone in modernizing.
Starlink is pivotal as a communications tool to allow us to better understand the state of health of this country. It brings it to a granular level. It's not based on opinion, it's not based on expert advice, it's data.
Dr. Denby said the improved connectivity will enhance collaboration among health professionals, allowing doctors in different hospitals to consult and share expertise more efficiently, ultimately improving patient care. He noted that beyond communication, the system will support electronic collection of patient data, enabling health authorities to monitor disease trends in real time and respond swiftly to emerging health threats.
So what this is doing for us is allowing us to objectively look at healthcare delivery and use the data and then analyze data for action. So it's data for action, but this you see here is the tool that allows us to do that.
Medical Superintendent of the Julius Maada Bio Pediatric Center of Excellence, Dr. Aishatu Mustafa, welcomed the initiative, recalling previous attempts to implement electronic medical records that were hindered by poor internet connectivity.
We're able to communicate faster, easily, and seamlessly. For instance, if you don't see your patient, all the other units they will know what you want for your patient. You go don't send you request to the lab. USA used to do, you go don't send request to the lab. You go don't send request to the X-ray unit. You go don't send a prescription to the pharmacy. All that thing and they go don't be done quickly.
The nationwide rollout of Starlink is expected to enhance patient management, improve disease surveillance, and support the Ministry of Health's vision of a modern, data-driven healthcare system capable of delivering quality services to all Sierra Leoneans. Emmanuel Samua, SLBC.
A Nigerian-based prophet, Chuks Tony, has arrived in Sierra Leone for the first time ahead of the 3-day prophetic crusade in Freetown with the theme Papa Prophecy. The crusade is expected to attract hundreds of worshippers for prayer, healing, and spiritual revival. Here is an excerpt of Prophet Chuks Tony of what awaits worshippers.
The visit to Sierra Leone is for revival, is for salvation, is to preach the gospel, is to pray for people, deliver those who are oppressed, and call people to the glory of God and to Christ. So that's my purpose of visiting Sierra Leone. Everyone who wants to come and join the conference, my prayers for them is that God will answer their prayers. If God wants to deliver people and God wants to set people free, there must be a vessel through which God will be able to do that. And that is why we have ministers of the gospel. So everyone in Sierra Leone, I welcome them all to this program, and I believe that it's going to be a very big testimony. Many will testify to the goodness of God. Venue of the program is going to be at Wamagriso School, Mile 12, Mambo Junction, along Peninsula Road. So that's where the program is holding. It is for 29, 30 and 31st of July, 3 p.m. daily. There are prophecies that come that break barriers. And there are prophecies that when it's given by God, when they come your way, it turns your life around. So that's why the program is captioned Prophesy.
That was Prophet Chuks Tony, a Nigerian-based pastor who's in the country for a Spirit-Filled Revival program. The ambassador of the Republic of Sierra Leone to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed Bari, has held high-level discussions with the Chief Executive Officer of Saudi Fund for Development at the fund's headquarters in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The discussions were focused on further strengthening bilateral cooperation and accelerating the implementation of Saudi fund-supported development projects in Sierra Leone. This report was filed in by Alhaji Abubakar Ba, a press attaché, and was read in the studio by Yusuf Mose Suma.
One of the key projects discussed at the meeting was the Riyadh Referral Hospital project in Sierra Leone. The ambassador of Sierra Leone to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed Bari, formally conveyed information on the revised sites for the hospital project in the country and further discussed better future project opportunities for Sierra Leone. The proposed Riyadh Referral Hospital project is 150 beds health facility that is estimated to worth $50 million United States dollar. It is a fully funded hospital project by the Saudi Fund for Development. Ambassador Mohammed Bari said the hospital is a flagship health infrastructure initiative aimed at improving specialist healthcare service delivery in the country. The Chief Executive Officer of Saudi Fund for Development, Al Mashad, thanked Ambassador Mohammed Bari, noting significant progress being made across the SFD's portfolio in Sierra Leone. He confirmed that approximately 80% of the ongoing projects are nearing completion, including 2 education-related projects, while borehole drilling activities are currently at about 40% in completion. The Saudi Fund for Development expressed interest in supporting mining and energy projects in Sierra Leone. The ambassador discussed the NPRA Tank Fund project with the CEO of Saudi Fund for Development, who expressed a keen interest in supporting it. At the end of the meeting, major discussion points were highlighted. Amongst the points is for the government of Sierra Leone to submit an immediate priority, a request for proposals for consultancy on the Riyadh Referral Hospital to the Saudi Fund for Development for a review and approval. A visit of Sierra Leone's Minister of Mines and Energy, trip to Saudi Arabia for a strategic meeting with the CEO of Saudi Fund for Development and the Saudi Minister of Energy and Mines. The meeting concluded with both parties expressing optimism that the Riyadh Referral Hospital and other ongoing initiatives will significantly improve service delivery and quality of life for the people of Sierra Leone. Yusuf Mosiri Suma, SLBC News, Freetown.
In observation of Egyptian National Day, the Embassy of Arab Republic of Egypt in Sierra Leone has hosted a dignified reception with MDAs and international partners at Radisson Blu Mamiyoko Hotel. The occasion was to celebrate Egypt's national heritage while reaffirming the growing ties of friendship and cooperation between the Arab Republic of Egypt and the Republic of Sierra Leone. According to the Egyptian ambassador to Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Rasha Soliman Mohi Heldin Soliman, the occasion highlighted the significance of Egypt's proud history and its enjoined partnership with Sierra Leone. Moses Conte was there and sent in this report.
The annual celebration marks Egypt's revolution, which begins on the preceding evening of 23rd July, marking the date in 1952 when the Free Officers Movement led by Mohamed Naguib and Gamal Abdel Nasser commenced the military coup d'etat that launched the revolution and ultimately led to the abdication of King Farouk, the penultimate king of Egypt and the Sudan. It led to the declaration of the modern Republic of Egypt, ending the period of the Kingdom of Egypt. It is the biggest secular public holiday in Egypt and is considered the national day. According to the Egyptian ambassador in Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Rasha Soliman Mohi Edni Soliman, the bilateral relationship between Egypt and Sierra Leone have continued to gain momentum, particularly following the March 2025 visit of His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio in Cairo. She described the visit as a landmark moment that opened new avenues for practical cooperation and mutual advancement. Among the major achievements highlighted was the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the Egyptian Drug Authority and the Pharmacy Board of Sierra Leone, which is expected to strengthen pharmaceutical regulation, support the fight against counterfeit medicine, build local professional capacity, and improve access to safe, high-quality, and affordable healthcare in Sierra Leone.
We are standing shoulder to shoulder to each other. So our cooperation now is extending in different areas. Since the visit of His Excellency the President, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, to Egypt in March 2025, it has been a historic visit because it also witnessed the signature of like 5 MOUs between our two nations in different fields. We're trying to activate and see them into reality.
For the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Timothy Kaba, the Egyptian National Day was a defining moment in the country's modern history and long-standing role in promoting African liberation, unity and Pan-African cooperation. He pledged Sierra Leone continual commitment to collaborate with Egypt for the furtherance of peace, security and financial stability.
Our diplomatic bond reached momentous heights following the historic state visit of His Excellency President Julius Maada Bio to Cairo in March 2025. The visit marked a significant milestone in the long-standing friendship between our two countries, reaffirming our shared commitment to strengthening bilateral cooperation and advancing our common Africa agenda. The high-level engagement between President Bio and His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi opened new avenues for collaboration in various sectors. We remain encouraged by the momentum generated by that historic visit of His Excellency and look forward to the full implementation of the outcomes for the benefit of our two countries and our peoples.
The reception not only saw a mixture of government stakeholders, but also non-government parastatals and officials from the Arab Republic of Egypt, chatting with deeper love and friendship, assuring lasting partnership between the two sister nations. 74 years down the line, Ambassador Suleiman reiterated Egypt's past development and contribution to other nations, adding that other developments are upcoming, such as the inauguration of the Grand Egyptian Museum and preparation for the Africa Business Forum in New Ameni City, a symbol of Egypt's confidence, ambition, and commitment to investment, innovation, and sustainable development across the continent. Reporting for SLBC, Moses Conte.
Residents residing with the Circular Road Cemetery adjacent Ilsa Bypass Road have been evacuated. The demolition exercise by the City Council came after several seeks to locate from the cemetery premises. Well, Cynthia Kama witnessed the demolition exercise and now reports.
The demolition exercise came after several warnings for dwellers to evacuate the premises of the Circular Road Cemetery. This is the extent at which people have encroached the premises of Circular Road Cemetery adjacent Hillside Bypass Road with makeshift structures. Over 5 apartments are constructed here. The cemetery vicinity, known as the resting place for the deceased, has been turned into residence for some citizens. The idea, according to Freetown City Council, goes against the bylaws of the council, confirming the cemetery is meant to honor the deceased.
I am standing here at Circular Road Cemetery, adjacent Hillside Bypass Road, and as you can see at my back, the demolition exercise is currently going for those that have encroached this particular area, that have made this cemetery their residence. According to those that are standing there as residents, they confirm that the cost for rent is very, very expensive. The reason they have no other way but to use here as alternative to find their living or to have a comfortable place to live. At this point, City Council has found at this particular issue, and they are warning all those that have encroached here to leave this area and other cemeteries to ensure safety for the deceased.
The demolition, however, serves as a warning for people residing or attempting to build within the cemetery environment. Cynthia Kamara reporting for SLBC Newshour.
In Tistana village, Kerrytown, in the Western Rural District, a poultry farm is providing them with the right support. Local farmers can help strengthen Sierra Leone's food security while creating jobs and reducing dependence on imported food. The farm is among beneficiaries of the Food System Resilience Program funded by the World Bank in support of the government's Feed Salon agenda. Officials from the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security recently visited the facility to assess the impact of the program. SLBC's Cecilia Alisese reports.
Every day, thousands of fresh eggs leave this poultry farm for homes, hotels, and markets across Sierra Leone. Behind that daily production is James Kajai Lahai, a farmer whose years of hard work are now paying off. James established his poultry farm in 2009 with a vision of producing quality eggs locally and reducing Sierra Leone's reliance on imports. More than 17 years later, that vision continues to grow.
I started with 1,000 chickens, layers precisely, so I've been increasing year by year, and currently I hold about 18,000 layers.
The farm's recent expansion has been supported through the Food Systems Resilience Program funded by the World Bank under the government's Feed Salon initiative. James is one of the program's matching grant beneficiaries. He was awarded a grant of 70,000 United States dollars and has already received the first 50%. The funding is being used to improve production facilities and increase the farm's capacity.
I want to expand on the layers so that I can produce more egg because egg is in demand now. So I want to increase the number of layers I have. And that is from 18, I want to add the other 9,600 battery cage I will install, then put the layers there. Then I will personally try to increase it past to more than the 9,600. I want to make it 22,000.
The impact of the investment extends beyond poultry production. The growing business has created employment opportunities for local residents who are involved in feeding the fowls, collecting eggs, maintaining hygiene standards, packaging products, and managing the daily operations of the farm. The workers say the farm produces a reliable source of income to support their families and children's education.
Well, the work, it don't benefit me a lot because like I save money for myself, I send it to my mama, I do beaucoup things.
Become a young man, they wait and they not treat, then they take course. Yeah, we need workers, but I give advice for let them can do near we now this free zone store job here.
Another unique feature of the farm is the egg crate production unit. Instead of relying entirely on imported packaging materials, the farm manufactures its own egg crate, adding value to the business while creating additional employment opportunities.
This is the egg crates factory. As you can see, these crates are made right here in the farm from recycled cartons, which also create jobs for community people as the owner buys this recycled cartons from community youths. Now, this means more value to local food, more employment for young people, and less dependence on imports.
Beyond production, the business has established its own sales outlet, giving customers direct access to fresh, locally produced eggs. The growth of James's poultry farm reflects the broader goal of the Food Systems Resilience Program to support local farmers, increase food production, and create more opportunities across Sierra Leone's agricultural sector. Communications specialist Christian Scott explains why investments like this matter.
We can interest every Sierra Leonean to know that our projection by 2028 is not actually to ban totally, but we can minimize the importation of egg, and that is possible with the assessment that we have done so far.
For James Kaja Lahai, the grants represent more than financial support. It is an opportunity to expand his business, employ more young people, and contribute to Sierra Leone's goal of producing more of the food it consumes. As the government continues to implement the Feed Salon agenda, stories like this demonstrate how targeted investment in local farmers can improve livelihoods, strengthen communities, and move the country slower to achieving food security. Cecilia Alice Sise, SLBC News, Freetown.
Dockyard Community has unveiled its new playing and supporters jersey ahead of its opening fixture in 2026 at Blue School Sport Promoters Association ASPA 1xBet Inter-Community League. The team will face Rokel Community on Friday following a 2-0 friendly victory over Crew Town Road Community as part of its preparation. Here's the report.
Dockyard Community has unveiled its new playing and supporters jerseys ahead of its campaign in the 2026 ASPA 1xBet Inter-Community League. The players' jersey features a predominantly blue and white design, complemented by green, yellow, and blue vertical stripes. Anchor designs on the right side of the jersey reflects the community's identity as a Arbor community. The supporters' jersey is predominantly yellow with blue designs and anchor symbols on the right side side of the vest. Tandin Group of Companies is the main sponsors of the team's jerseys. Dockyard Community Team Manager Abubakar Banju believes the newly unveiled jersey is one of the best the community has produced and says the team is ready to compete for the trophy.
Swallow cast one because without support, the players but if we come with large support, I believe we will deliver. And I believe the supporters are ready for good support the community on Friday.
The community has also assembled a 32-man squad for the competition, comprising 19 foreign-based players and 13 home-based talents. As part of their preparations, the Dockyard community secured a 2-0 friendly victory over Crewtown Road community. Dockyard community will now look to carry the confidence from their friendly victory into Friday's ASPA opener against Rokel community. Chief Unveiler Ibrahim Sori Jallo also pledged his support to Dockyard community, expressing his commitment to the team's campaign in the competition.
To other community them. So I believe say Dockyard no go left. Dockyard self no community. As long as I will always throw my support and the community will have Dockyard.
But the real test will come on Friday when they face Rokel community in their opening match. One of Dockyard's community-based players, Ibrahim Walpas Kouma, said the community has high hope going into this year's competition, adding that their ultimate goal is to win the trophy.
Really blessed because of camping for this community. Now a blessing for me, and I believe say this year we the players ready for push the community and go for the final and carry the trophy for it.
With a strong squad, newly unveiled jerseys, and the backing of the community, Dockyard will be hoping to begin its ASPA campaign on a winning note when they face Rokel community on Friday.
It's now time for us to go in for international news summary.
This is the International News and I am Stella Banguran. Several people are trapped inside a shopping center after a strong earthquake hit southwest Japan, officials say. The quake hit inland on Kyushu Island, with about 300,000 people being told to move to evacuation shelters. Japan is one of the world's most earthquake-prone countries, experiencing about 1,500 quakes a year. Aeon Mall is a popular nationwide chain that operates about 160 centers across Japan. It holds department stores, boutiques, pharmacies, and food courts. Dozens of people were injured during the earthquake. About 10 were in an elderly care home, and at least 50 people have been treated in hospital. Train services have been suspended, and electricity has been cut off for thousands of homes. The U.S. delegation walked out of the UN Security Council meeting in protest at comments made by France that compared Washington's voting on human rights to that of authoritarian states. The diplomatic row was initially sparked last week when the U.S. joined North Korea and Russia in voting against extending Volker Turk's term as UN High Commissioner for Human Rights. The U.S.'s team's walkout came while France's ambassador, Jérôme Bonafont, was speaking during an emergency Security Council meeting on Russia's war in Ukraine. The fight over Turk's second term, which was passed with 144 states in favor, 10 against, and 13 abstentions, reflects tensions between Washington and the United Nations. UN aid has warned that global funding cuts, growing inequality and setbacks to human rights are threatening decades of progress in the fight against HIV and AIDS. Launched in Rio de Janeiro, To End AIDS report examines the impact of funding disruptions in 2025 and global progress toward ending AIDS as a public health threat by 2013. UN AIDS Executive Director Winifred Bayanyima said scientific advances have put an end to AIDS as a public health threat, within reach, that those gains are being jeopardized by declining investment and unequal access to prevention and treatment. And finally, for the international news, the internationally recognized government in divided Libya said it has ordered the army to regain control of a gas plant after a group of protesters forced their way in, risking a blackout. The head of the government of national unity, Abdel Hamid, has ordered the Ministry of Defense and the General Staff of Armed Forces to immediately take full control of the Melita gas complex. Several groups of people entered the Melita complex to shut off the gas valves, supplying power plants overnight. Scores of young people dumped rubbish in front of the headquarters of oil and gas companies in Tripoli, chanting songs that the people want the fall of the regime in protest against power cuts and the high cost of living. And that is the end of the international news. I have been your presenter, Stella Bangura. Stay tuned.
Many thanks there to Stella Bangura for the international news summary. Well, from there, that's how we draw the contents of the news. But before we go, a quick recap of a main point. Parliament has debated the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2025, proposing major electoral reforms, including a search and nomination committee for appointing electoral commissioners, a 30% women's quota for election candidates, a legal framework for independent presidential candidates who demonstrate financial capacity and community support, the registration of political parties that fail to win a parliamentary seat in 2 consecutive general elections, and the retention of the proportional representation system for parliamentary elections, the bill's most contentious provision. Human rights defenders should be familiar with the laws governing the state, particularly those relating to freedom of expression and other fundamental rights. This is according to the Section Director of Amnesty International Sierra Leone, Solomon Subani, during the opening of a 3-day training of trainers workshop on several legislations, including the Criminal Procedure Act, Cybersecurity Act, and the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act, or GIRI Act 2022 for civil society organizations. And the Minister of Fisheries, Princess Dogba, and a team have distributed fresh fish to patients in hospitals, bringing nourishment, hope, and a reminder that recovery is also supported by what is served on the plate. Well, that is our wrap-up this edition of the news from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. I have been your anchor, Esther Sako. Stay glued to your public service broadcaster, the SLBC, if you can. Bye for now.